Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Today I'm with a Seattle-based streetwear brand as well as a collective. It's my pleasure to introduce Cesar
Yo.
and Roger from Mediums Collective.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Big love. We appreciate the platform, bro. We appreciate the invite, man. So beautiful studio, bro.
It really is.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So tell me about yourselves. Like, are you guys raised in Seattle, or did you move here? Are you transplants? Tell me about it.
Go ahead, bro. I feel like you covered this one beautifully.
Well, me, Cesar, we're brothers.
Yeah.
So we're family, you know what I'm saying? So he's my brother. He's my older brother.
Really?
Yeah, so, we started, this is a family business, man.
You can see why I let him go first. You know what I mean? Guess who's the older one?
I really thought you were the older one.
That's what everyone says, bro.
Maybe it's the facial hair.
It is the facial hair. Probably it's the facial hair.
It's only 1 year, by the way. It's only 1 year.
But, yeah, man, we're brothers. We're Mexican, bro. Immigrated out here to Seattle when we were 9.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And then we were raised up in T-Tech, went to Tahi High School. And then I moved out here for college. I went to UW
Ooh.
and whatnot, bro.
What'd you study?
Marketing communications.
Hey.
So, so it's dope, man. Got him to move out here to Seattle. And then, once I graduated, we really decided to, start the brand right when I got off college, which is it was 2014. So we just kind of went right at it. And then really been staying out here in Seattle since then, kind of in that area.
So you guys are like actually immigrants from Mexico?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
We, my parents immigrated out here, you know what I'm saying? All the struggle, down in Mexico and whatnot. So we came out here, bro, only had some family out here, and pretty much, yeah, bro, grew up out here, parents, worked hard and shit. And yeah, man, it made us, bro.
Raised two badasses. I know.
Do you know why they chose Seattle?
We had family out here. So we had family out here. We had some uncles. So my dad came from, was out here, years prior to us coming. So, the family was, my mom was like, yo, you either come back or we make it out there.
There we go.
So obviously family's a very important value, but, my pops was just like, yeah, come out here. He had a job. So, we stayed out with the family. And then, my mom has always been very entrepreneurial. So she kind of, guided my dad to be like, okay, we need the house. We need to, put, money for the kids, invest on the kids, yada, yada, yada. So
there we go.
So yeah, man.
So Cesar, did you go to UW as well?
I did not.
Oh, what did you do?
I did not. I actually have a AAS from Clover Park Tech.
Where's
It's an
that?
associate.
Where's Clover Park Tech?
Lakewood. I know. It's like
Okay.
out there. Yeah. So I actually just graduated from high school, and then two years of technical college, and then right on, just got on to doing my own thing. Yeah.
And how old are you guys both?
I'm 29.
Yeah.
He's
Born
30.
1990.
Yeah.
Actually, 31.
31.
Jesus, you guys look young.
Yeah, man. That's what everyone says, bro. You're 20, bro. So.
Well, I thought you were I thought Cesar was gonna be maybe like 23 or something. I thought you'd be maybe like 28.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm 29, bro.
Yeah.
So,
See, I feel like you fit your age.
Yeah. I keep telling him, man, he needs to grow the beard a little bit.
Maybe it's the hair. I think the hair gives people like more
Maybe.
youth.
It's definitely the hair and the spirit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to me, that's just kind of like it's a silly metric,
Right.
when you
Yeah.
want to think about like a lot of things. You know what I mean? Like for the body, it makes sense to like go off that number, but for everything else, it's just kind of a silly number to keep
Wow.
track on. So
Yeah, a lot of artists and creatives I've been meeting in Seattle, I realize how old they are, and I'm like, what? I feel like you guys are all my age. But, like, I just recently started finding artists my age, and those artists are pop artists. I'm not super huge into pop music, but I'm like, these guys are doing what I'm doing. Of course, I'm doing a podcast, but they're pushing their music, so why not help them out?
Right, right. No, it's dope, man. It's dope to see kind of like to be honest, young cats really be rising up to the game and really like, having the same production as someone that's been doing it for a little while
Yeah.
too. So man, I feel like they adapted to technology a little bit more, so yeah, bro, it's dope, man. I've been meeting a lot of cats that are young too. So it's just dope to see that they're taking the artwork. So you're 20 years old, bro, and we're doing a very professional podcast,
Respect.
So
There we go.
Yeah.
So how did you guys get started with you started as a streetwear brand. Now you're just now branching off into a collective. So tell me more about the very beginnings of your streetwear brand.
So to bring it back, bro, so I guess, you know, we started in 2014, bro. I was kind of involved in clothing back in the day. Back in college, I used to help a homeboy
Bring the
out.
mic a little closer, little bit.
You know, I used to kind of help a homeboy out that was doing clothing back in the day. His name was Endorphins, the Endorphins brand. I don't know if you know it. It kind of got popping back in 2012.
Okay. I'm going to be just the only clothing brand I think I really know is
Let me guess. The Billionaires Boys Club.
No. Oh, there we go. I was going to say Seattle-based. I'd probably just say the fucking Skyline socks. So I need to learn more about like the
Skyline, man. Yeah.
They're doing big things. I actually was just in Vegas and I saw them. I saw like their stuff.
They're from
in
UW
Vegas.
too. So they graduated from UW. I think they were in the same class that I was, 2014.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so they were kind of in that Greek system. So it kind of, you know, it was kind of buzzing when we're doing our thing. But yeah, man, I was involved in clothing a little bit. You know, I like photography, graphic design, all of those mediums, you know, and I kind of got introduced to clothing and then had my own style, you know, so Endorphins was kind of going in a different direction, and then I kind of, you know, had my own style, kind of had a whole lifestyle that I kind of wanted to showcase, kind of. And 2014, bro, I graduated, and I, you know, went and talked to my brother, and I was like, hey, bro, like, I got this idea, I got this designs, you know what I'm saying? He, you know, we kind of pulled the savings together, and it was just like, bro, like, let's kind of launch it. You know, he was about it, his same values, same entrepreneurship values that I had, you know, and right off the bat, we dropped like 10 grand and we invested in like 1,000 hoodies, bro.
Wow.
You know, so we kind of just became very official, just very like fast, right? And then it was 2014. We're like, okay, bro, now we have 1,000 hoodies. Now how are we gonna sell them? So then, you know, luckily with UW, I kind of had some connections. I started doing, I was kind of doing event planning at UW, and I had. You know, I knew people that were doing all the raves and all the parties and the big festivals, you know, Hempfest, Bumbershoot, Paradiso back in the day, which was like, you know, the biggest raves here in Seattle.
Hell yeah.
that were going on. So we really just, you know, I kind of was just like, hey, you know, I have a little clothing brand. Can I have a, you know, vendor spot? And we pretty much did that for 4 years. You know, we started with all the festivals out here, Bumbershoot, Hempfest, Sasquatch, Summer
Rip
Jam.
Sasquatch.
Yeah, I know, bro. It's kind of sad.
Sad.
You know, and then we started branching out. You know, after a few years of doing it, you know, people showed a lot of love, reciprocated because, you know, the designs were hella unique. We always focused on really high quality fabrics.
What's a high quality fabric? Is it not like you're not using like Hanes or?
Yeah, you know, a lot of people use Hanes. A lot of people use blanks. A lot of not cheap material, but yeah, Hanes is kind of more of a low quality. And if you want to get into the wholesale and blank hoodies, you know, we started with Independent. Independent's kind of a more good, high quality hoodie that will last you a lot longer. But there's obviously a lot more on a wholesale, right? And it's just the texture of the fabric, you know.
It's the way it's made.
The way it's made.
It has a lot to do with like
the blends, right?
The blends.
The blends, you know, the poly blend and the cotton blend. So, you know, we started with wholesaling, right? So we started going with Independent because they had the best hoodies. You know, I spend hours, you know, just researching, you know, what's the best hoodie out there. Got all the business license and really focused on, you know, trying to find, you know, I ordered a bunch of samples and I was like, okay, I just felt them. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really know back in the day, bro. I just kind of was just like, okay, I like this one. I don't like this one. This one has certain feels. So yeah, man. So we really always focused on fabrics and just like the best feel, right? And you know, I like blending in different colors. You know, so
I guess you don't really see a lot of brown sweatshirts. Right?
Yeah, you know. So this one was kind of like a nice mocha brown, just kind of dope, man.
Ooh, mocha brown, I like it.
Yeah. So 2016, you know, from really 2014 to like 2019, bro, we just went to a bunch of trade shows. We started branching out to California. We started branching out to Colorado, Vegas. We did like all the High Times Canvas Cups. So we would go, you know, after we kind of
Tell me about that. You said High Times?
Yeah.
That's dope.
So we would go to the High Times Canvas Cups back in the day, man. We did like 10, 15 per year.
Wow.
You know, ranging from California, Santa Rosa. And it was dope, man, because it was just like, it was the cannabis culture, you know. So cannabis is very music, fashion, and cannabis, you know what I'm saying? They kind of go hand by hand.
Mm-hmm.
And it was dope, man. A lot of people showed a lot of love. A lot of people showed a lot of support.
Is that how you had to grow your brand back in the day? To like, you had to kind of tour, or?
Pretty much, you know, because really we just, you know, events was kind of the way that I've always knew how to sell clothes, bro.
What that gave us was like a sense of like seeing the reaction of people when they grab our stuff. Was like, oh shit, we need to keep going twice as hard, because people are legitimately like fans of the stuff when they grab it. And so it was confirmation that like, okay, like the market actually wants this.
And it was, I mean, it was a lot of experiments too, bro. So we did farmers markets. You know, we did the Fremont farmers market. We did like
that's probably not that common to do, huh?
I mean, you know, there's a lot of small businesses out there. So, you know, whoever's starting out, bro, I think it's a great place to start. You know what I'm saying? And really just placing your brand and your product in front of people, I think is really the way to go. Because that's how we started, bro. We just found every event that we could, right, and placed it in front of people. And then we, after doing it for a while, we realized, okay, bro, these people kind of fuck with my product. These people don't really like my product. You know, there was times where we stand for 10 hours, but we made no sales, you know? So after kind of finding our market, you know, and seeing people's reactions, you know, we were like, okay, well, music, fashion, cannabis, you know, all these themes that revolve, and it's things that we like too, you know what I'm saying? We smoke weed, we like music, we like hip hop.
And that's what makes it streetwear, like being kind of, I don't think trendy is the right word, but like in that culture, like hip hop culture.
Yeah, I'd say so. You know, I feel like we're streetwear because I feel like we're in the streets, right? And it's like, I feel like you got to be active in the streets. You got to be active in the community. You got to be active talking to people and relating it to them. You know what I'm saying? You got to be immersed in the culture that you're trying to sell to, right?
But like Banana Republic wouldn't be streetwear, right?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, you know, I'd say, what's it called? ETC streetwear, right? Because they do a lot of community. I feel like streetwear is connected with community. You feel me?
So like Supreme is streetwear though.
Yeah, and I mean Supreme was big in the skating community. You know what I'm saying? They built a big community behind it. And then he got hype. You know what I'm saying? And then there's hype behind streetwear. So you know, but what is it? What's the hundreds? You know what I'm saying? I see that as real streetwear. You know what I'm saying? And still up to today, you know, I read the book. I still follow them because they're just focused. You know, I feel like they never lost that sense of community. They always stayed true to, you know what I'm saying, to really kind of representing kind of what the LA culture was about back when they were blowing up. And they still do so, you know. So that's what I think defines streetwear, you know. I think we're streetwear just because we're active. You know, we go, when we set up a booth, bro, it's me and my brothers handling the booth, you know. Now, you know, now 2021, you know, we transitioned more, instead of just attending events, we transitioned to more doing the events, you know, because like I said, we had event production kind of background, and then, you know, just kind of attending all those trade shows. We're like, okay, bro, let's try to bring all that experience that we've gathered.
And you got all these trade shows literally just by asking, or like once you go to one event, do you make a resume and send these to festivals, or how does that work?
Bro, that's what it is. It's also a lot based on relationships.
It's relationship based. You know, you apply, bro, and just research, bro. I just spend a lot of time researching. You know, Google is your best friend, bro. And
whoa.
and
Hova.
You know, Instagram, you know, now obviously social media, bro, you can see what's popping, you know, and really just kind of tapping into what's going on, right? So it's like, okay, we attended into a High Times. Now I follow High Times, and now I see what they're doing, right? Or even like Hempfest. You know, now I follow Hempfest. I connected with Hempfest, and maybe they might have a few little parties going on here and there. And I'm like, okay, well, if it seems right, then let me reach out and let me see if I can have a booth, right? Back in the day, let's say even here in the city, you know, Marshall was kind of doing a lot of things.
Shout out Marshall Law.
Shout out Marshall Lawman, man. Big love to Marshall, you know. You know, I saw that he was doing a gala like a couple years ago.
Emerald City Gala.
Yeah, the Emerald City Gala, bro. And that's how we connected with him. You know, we didn't really know Marshall. We knew Shamel because we worked with Shamel before.
Yeah.
But, you know, we saw that there was something going on in the city, and I just reached out. You know what I'm saying? I was like, hey, Marshall, you know, like.
I should have gone. I literally got a free ticket and gave it to someone. I wish I went to that.
Man, it was dope.
It was
bro.
a good event.
It was dope.
That was actually my
It was
first
dope.
time I saw them play.
Yeah,
Live. Yeah.
it was super dope, man. But it really just took out a bunch of reaching out, you know. And a lot of people obviously didn't respond. A lot of people said no, but a lot of people said yeah, you know. And then we also focused a lot on the presentation. Like I said, bro, I think, well, for us, we focused on the quality, right? And it was quality clothing, quality marketing. You know, I like to have really good photography. I like to, for me, making clothes is my medium. So I like to put meaning behind my clothes. So when I do like a commercial or a design, right, I like to put kind of a message behind it. And then I focus kind of like the marketing behind that message, right? So, you know, just I feel like our presentation also kind of was our resume, right? And it's like, okay, well, when I went and presented myself to a High Times Cannabis Cups, to a Hemp Fest, they went and checked me out. They're like, okay, well, you got a nice official page. You know, your presentation looks dope. Your product looks dope.
So do they care about, like, are they looking for like a social media following and like a nice website? Or?
Yeah, I think it's that. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, I always submit it too. It's like, hey, we've been to Hemp Fest. You know, I also plugged in the names. You know, it's like, because it's, I mean, you're just building the resume, bro. Oh, I've been to Colorado. I've been to Vegas. I've been here and there. And they're like, okay, well, you probably know the vending game, right? Because there's a lot of requirements. When you vend like that, bro, and when you kind of travel like that, there's a lot of requirements behind that. You got to have all your business licenses. You got to have all your tax licenses. You got to have your reseller's permit. You got to have, let's say if you're traveling to a different state, you got to get a reseller's permit, a temporary reseller's permit to be able to go, and because you have to report tax to that state, right? So there's a lot of documents that you need to be able to do that, right? So going out of state gave us that experience.
Wait, so why can I can make like a Depop or whatever and just sell clothes on there but why do you guys need a license to sell clothing?
Well, because you're selling them physically. So when you sell them online, there's different tax laws behind selling online and selling physically. You know, when you're shipping, like when I ship out to Colorado, right now we have an online store. So when I ship out to someone in Colorado or ship out somewhere in California, technically the customer pays the taxes because I only have to report where I'm physically selling the product. So if I ship someone to Washington, then I have to charge them taxes. But if I sell someone to California, they get to pay the taxes, right? So there's a lot of taxing regulations when it comes to online selling and, you know, physically selling.
So I'm guessing that would make some people just want to sell online then, right?
Yeah. But I mean, the benefit behind selling in person, bro, you're just connecting. You know what I'm saying? It's back to the streetwear concept, right? I'm talking to people, bro. I'm seeing how people reacting to my clothing. I'm telling them my story. I'm telling them who I am, where I'm from, what this design meant, why I use the specific colors. I just get to vibe with them, you know. So I think there's a very important, you know, it's just very important to kind of be in person. You know, I think in person will never die. You know, I think in person retail, you know,
But look at malls. Malls are dying out.
Kinda, you know, but
I feel like that's a lot to do with how they're set up too.
But not really though, because
can you break that down real quick?
Well, I mean, it's just now that we're like we're throwing our own events, right? We definitely notice a difference when you actually focus. You have a focus. You have a theme. You know, I guess you could say with the malls, the theme is shopping, right? But it's also a lot of shopping, right? It's shoes, hats, whatever it's at the mall. And eventually I felt like that's losing power because you can just easily do that through online now. But for what Roger was saying though about selling physically, that I felt like will never go away because you're building relationships also, which is what ultimately I feel like builds a brand.
Right.
And a fan base. Yeah.
Right, the fan base.
You know?
And too, bro, people love touching the product. You know, you can try to replicate the quality online. And I try to do that with my photography, with the way we present. You know, when you go to my website, it looks clean, it looks slick. When you go to my social media, it looks clean and slick, but you can't feel it, right? I can add the reviews. I have like a review plugin, right? So people can, once they purchase, they go and review the product. But it still doesn't give you that full satisfaction of like, yo, how do I know that this is going to fit right? You know, how do I know it's going to feel right? So I think that physical interaction, I don't think it will ever die. You know, I think it's transitioning from malls to a different concept, you know, and we found a lane in events, you know. But like I said, I mean, we're currently thinking about opening up a retail store pretty soon.
Ooh.
So just because I just feel like, people like to feel the clothes, bro.
Yeah.
People like to feel the clothes. People want to see the product in person.
So Cesar, tell me what is the importance? Like, why should people even care about streetwear brands in Seattle when we're like a tech city? Like when you think of like fashion cities, you think of like a New York or even like an LA, but here we're focused on like Microsoft, Google.
Right. Well, I mean, let me see if I understand your question. Are you saying where does fashion meet with like the corporate culture?
Yeah, here in Seattle. Like,
right, because when you think about New York, you think about banks, right? Money, capital city, right? You think about LA, entertainment, Hollywood, right? All that stuff, movies. In here, you got tech, but there's also another aspect I feel like, which is like, and this is very deep, right? Feel free to follow me down this rabbit hole if you will. But
yes, sir.
The whole thing with just Seattle as not even as a city, but like the environment. You feel me? You go out, there's greenery everywhere. That causes a different feel to you. It's like just being close to nature. I feel like not a lot of people talk about it, but it's a thing. It definitely does affect with like a character. And so, what was your initial question again? Why is it important? Or
but that also means like, so if we're talking about nature right now, so then that you think of like a North Face or like a Patagonia.
Yeah, right.
So how does streetwear fit into like Seattle culture?
Well, I think it's about just people getting together, and having those spaces where, those communities can thrive. If you ask me, I think it's about having those spaces where those communities have a space to grow, to build, to continue expanding. I feel like a lot of the things of why streetwear maybe here hasn't taken off is just the spaces haven't been available for these communities to gather and talk and build. So from that sense, I'm not saying that's the overall issue with or why it hasn't happened. Just from my perspective, I think it's important because those communities need spaces to connect and
right.
grow and build.
And I think too, there's an opportunity for street. Seattle's very tech, right? When you think about Seattle, it's tech, right? But there's also a lot of culture in the city. But when you look at clothing brands from the Northwest, you think of Patagonia, or you think of very outdoorsy. And I think there's a good lane for us to hop into with more sustainable fabrics, which is something that we kind of try to focus on. We're a small brand, really, but let's say like our hats, they're made out of hemp. So hey. I think there's a respective lane where street and not just streetwear in Seattle, but I think streetwear in general can really follow. Is how can we be innovative with the products that we make too, right? Because technology is all about innovation, and I feel like anything can really be innovation. We try to focus on the hemp. It's very hard, you know what I'm saying? Because hemp's like the technology is still being developed, but I think there's a lot of lane for us, and maybe too because we're from the Northwest. We're very nature based.
Wait, so do you care about being a brand in Seattle, or are you just here in Seattle and you're trying to make it just a worldwide thing?
No, I mean we're trying to sky's the limit, but I really Seattle's where I grew up. You know what I'm saying? We immigrated from Mexico, like I said, and Seattle's all we know. So really, I'm trying to make it. Even my new product line is gonna say Seattle, Washington, right? Trying to really represent Seattle, and really, it's more because I want to represent. There's culture in Seattle, bro. When you really go, deep past the tech name and the tech stigma behind Seattle, there's a lot of culture in Seattle, bro. There's a lot of up and coming artists, bro. There's a lot of artists. There's a lot of art. There's a lot of.
See, you guys are artists then at that point, because like artists have a problem trying to find a fan base in Seattle because of the tech as well, right?
Right.
So I hope this doesn't come off as, I don't know if it's, I'm just gonna say I hope this doesn't come off as racist or whatever. Okay,
yeah.
But when you think of the people that are moving to Seattle, they're basically. The majority of them are Indians,
right? For
like these tech jobs,
right?
Indians don't give most of them don't give a fuck about culture, like what they're wearing. Like they're wearing jeans and then open-toed shoes and calling it a good day,
right?
So like I'm guessing you guys aren't do you guys care about that audience? Like, are you trying to connect with them, or are you doing like the artist approach where you have to find like the people in Seattle that truly care? Because the artists can't really They can't really compete with these tech people who are probably not listening to rap.
Well,
or
you'd be surprised, bro. You'd really be surprised because all these people don't really come with culture, bro. And when they experience it, and that's what we've been noticing with our events, right? So part of our goal with the events is like, how do we take it instead of just doing it in our own communities, right? Instead of just doing it in SeaTac, instead of just doing it in the Central District, how do we bring the culture out to South Lake Union? How do we bring it out to Bellevue, right? Because, and we've done that. You know, we had a boat cruise a couple of weeks ago, bro, where it was in South Lake Union, right? So
yeah, tell me more about that.
Man, the boat cruise was dope, you know, and the concept behind it is really bringing the culture to the tech world almost, right? Into the city and to places where you might not expect it, you know, to happen. And what we've noticed is that people almost want that credibility, right? People buy the hoodie because they might be from tech, but then you rock my hoodie and you're like, oh, you kind of get a little street cred, right? Man, yeah, I know Seattle. I'm from Seattle, right? So what I'm noticing is a lot of people actually love the culture. A lot of people actually, you know, they might say they're not a fan of rap, but then when they come to a show and they see the Marshall Lobbin perform, when they see Young Bree perform, you know, they love it. You know, so it's really trying to integrate and have this tech companies almost invest in, you know what I'm saying, in the culture. Because, you know, because everyone, I mean, personally, bro, everyone can be a fan, you know, everyone can be a customer. That's the way I see it.
And how do you connect with them, though?
I think we just bring them cool experiences, bro. We just bring dope experiences. Let's have them have a great time, you know, and I think they'll naturally gravitate towards the vibe.
Right.
So,
so like when you guys are marketing, how do you guys market towards Bellevue or Redmond or South Lake Union? Is it just like over social media? Are you doing radio ads? Or how are you going about it?
I mean, yeah, bro. I mean, all online ads, right? So, you know, let's say if I want to get technical, if I'm doing an event in South Lake Union, then I do an ad that's a 50-mile radius of that specific location.
Oh, we're getting technical here.
Right? So I set up an ad that's like 50-mile radius, and then I set it up with certain demographics, right? So I set it up, okay, I want them to be 21 to 45, and then I want them to be, you know, I then plug in like social or info, what do you call it? Psychographs, right? So then it's like, okay, I want them to be interested in live events. I want them to be interested, let's say, Seahawks and UW, right? And now I'm targeting UW, you know, people that are interested at UW and people that are interested, right? If I want them to be interested in tech, then I can plug in that interest and be like, okay, let's target the tech people, right?
And this is all like online, though?
This is all online.
So if you guys started like in 2014, of course there's internet in 2014. Right. You guys aren't dinosaurs. But, but with that, there's still people who probably aren't, like, if you're trying to reach a Indian guy or an older audience, they're probably not on Instagram or social media as much. So like, how are you connecting with them? Is it
that's the power. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I think I know what you were asking. That's the power of these cultural events, right? And building networks. Because so just right off talking about that culture, I don't know why I was just thinking about Bozy, right? And because we just met Bozy and because we started working closely with Bozy.
Who's Bozy?
Bozy is a rapper, bro. He's an Indian rapper.
Okay.
You know, and he's actually dope. So, and I think this is a great way because
now we're tapped into
also the collaborations with different people, right? Bozy is a rapper, but he also does real estate. So he kind of brings that demographic of like, okay, you got your real estate individuals, but you also like rap. So now he's bringing the Indian community, and he's from Bellevue, right? And now he can bring the Indian community, you know, let's say to Seattle because he's built that network, and then he can, you know, we host him on a show, you know, we hosted him for Fremont Friday, and he brought that community with him, you know. So I think it's also a network. Also, I think obviously you got to know your demographic. So like, you know, maybe someone from tech might not buy my hoodie, so I'm not gonna be targeting towards him, right?
So who's your overall demographic so far?
I'd say, you know, 21 to 25.
Hold on. I would say, no, 21 to 35.
35, sorry. Yeah, 35, even 40, you know.
Right.
Just culturally interested, you know.
Is that average for streetwear brands probably then also? Like probably younger people are more into streetwear versus a 60-year-old or even a 50-year-old?
Possibly, bro. But what we also noticed with the events and with Fremont Fridays, bro, we had people coming that were 60 years old and dancing.
Vibing.
You know, so it's like that's also the power behind the live events, you know. And that's what we did in Fremont, right? So completely different demographic that you might not even think they're into hip hop, but they're walking through the street and then they hear it and they come and then they're vibing. And they're coming, you know, Fremont Fridays was set up, so we had small businesses as well. You know, we had small businesses from the community that were BIPOC, you know. So, you know, we just got, you know, we may have a 6-year-old white male that is just walking by, you know, because he's bar hopping, and now he heard Fremont Fridays, now he heard the music, he came, he vibed with it, and then he shopped.
Yeah.
You know, so I think, you know, Fremont Fridays was a great example that if you
break down Fremont Fridays for people who might not know what that is.
Fremont Fridays was a 16-week concept that we partnered up with Marshall Lobbying
and LTD
to kind of host, you know, kind of feature local artists and local businesses.
Whose idea was it? Was Marshall reached out to you, or did you guys reach out to Marshall?
It was both, bro. It was both, to be honest. We just kind of, you know, I was working with his dad because his dad is a Seattle U professor.
Papa Randy.
Shout out, Padrino.
Shout out. And then we did a Cinco de Mayo event, right? We did a Cinco de Mayo event where it was Latinx. You know, we're Latinos, so it was a Latinx influence. We wanted to feature.
Wait, is that a thing now? So people are... You guys have accepted saying Latinx.
Yeah, I guess so, bro. It is a thing. You know, I just started using it because I guess...
This sounds cool.
No, it's not even that it's cool, but it's just...
It reminds me of X-Men.
It's inclusive, right? It's inclusive because you say Latinos...
It works.
You say Latinos, bro, it's males, right? When you say Latinx, it's like you're being inclusive because it's not just males.
Okay.
Right? So that's why the Latinx, right? It's inclusive.
Because I thought it was white people who created Latinx. Then you guys kind of...
Maybe. You know, I don't know.
I like the X-Men reference.
Yeah, I like X-Men too. Who doesn't like X-Men?
But I don't know. I feel like it is inclusive, so I use it.
Okay, cool.
You know? But yeah, man, we just wanted, you know, we wanted to feature our community, and we had about 50 vendors up at Jimi Hendrix, right? And so... because we come from that background of having vendors in music, because of the high times and the, you know, and all the vending experience 4 years before, you know, Marshall Lobbying was kind of creating that mobile stage.
The SS Jelly Bean.
The Jelly Bean, you know. So I just, you know, we just both, it was just almost, it was meant to be, you know. It's like, bro, you got the mobile music and, you know, the vendor area. It's just like we can create almost an economic engine, right? Because it's like with that, bro, you attract a lot of people, you attract a lot of customers, right? And people, and like I said, bro, we've been trying to bridge that gap of like, let's try to take it to South Lake Union, let's try to take it to Bellevue. And I think with Marshall Lobbying and the Jelly Bean, I think we can do that because it's a mobile stage, right? So that's how it came about. It was natural. It was natural. He saw what we're doing, we saw what he was doing, and you know, they move, you know, very similar to how we move. You know, we're just always working.
Did you sell merch at the event, or was it more just like Medium's Collective is a...
No, we had the whole booth.
Everywhere Medium's is out there.
Right?
You better believe there's clothes out there. Right. For sure.
And that's because we don't have a storefront. So we're always looking to innovative ways to sell our clothes.
That's what I was going to say. That's because that's what we're about, right? I mean, we're not just sponsoring events. At the end of the day, we're trying to create our own distribution channel too, you know what I'm saying, because we have a business as well. You know, I also like to make that very clear. You know, a lot of people get confused thinking we're just sort of an experience, but no, we have a business. You know, we have products, we have something to sell. So every time Mediums is anywhere, our apparel's out there.
So when you look at like an ETC, are they outside of Seattle as well? I know they're from Tacoma, but like, have you seen streetwear be like successful outside of Seattle really? Besides, I think the most common one is obviously like Cookies, you know?
Right. But Cookies is from the Bay, you know?
Oh, so there, okay.
Yeah, because that's Burner.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And Cookies is just a bigger brand. It's a cannabis brand. And he branched out, you know, he does genetics, and then clothing is part of it, which is fire. You know, Cookies is he's killing the game.
They do have a store here though, right?
They do have a storefront.
Okay. That's where I got confused.
Yeah, they have it. And then I think they just opened a store up in Tacoma, I believe. Okay. I believe they just opened up, but it's a cannabis brand. And then, but see, that's what it is. It's like street for us too. It's, you know, I feel like we don't want to get boxed into we're just a clothing brand, right? Because I feel like we're just really comes out to coming out with an innovative business plan, right? Because it just obviously, I feel like the way to get out there is just trying new things, right? So for us, it's like we're a clothing brand, we're doing events, you know, and then we're not just stuck to just one concept.
But
Right.
who do you look to? Do you look to anyone in the Pacific Northwest that you can be like, we can some way or another copy what they're doing to be successful? Like, how does that work?
Yeah,
for
not
Seattle?
necessarily, to be honest, bro. I mean, I don't think there's really much in Seattle, which is why we're focused on Seattle too, which is why I think there's a lot of opportunity in Seattle. You know, a lot of people tend to try to blow up and then move out of Seattle. Every time someone tells me that, I'm like, nah, bro, like, there's opportunity out here. There's no one blowing up like that. You know, who really blew up like that? I mean, you know, there's Macklemore. Macklemore just started his clothing brand, right? And then
that man, but it's just like podcast. I use the podcast example, like a Joe Rogan. He's a comedian first, or he was on TV first, so he even had like a boost before he started his podcast. Or like a lot of huge podcasts, they're already actors or comedians,
right?
So they get that boost. So when Macklemore, he
has that boost, bro. He has that boost. You know, he opened up a store, bro. He had press out there. We open up a store, I don't think we're gonna have press unless me and my brother go and talk to them and try to, you know what I'm saying? And that's what we do, bro.
Oh, you better believe we're gonna have press.
Yeah, and that's what we do. You know what I'm saying? We just have to work 10 times as hard,
NAST
bro.
podcast will be there.
Come on.
There you go, man. So, you know, I don't really have no one to really look up to, which kind of has made the you know,
sounds stressful.
The whole process, you know, harder, but it's also, you know, it's exciting for us, bro. You know, I like to be innovative. I like to, you know, I mean, it's the whole thing
with being an immigrant too, bro. It's like it's full of uncertainty. You know what I mean? Like we never really had something to look at. You know, we came here and we just had to figure it out. Our parents had to figure it out.
Right. And also, I mean, that's how you get creative, bro. That's you know, in my brand, it's all about creativity, mediums. You know, it's, you know, your mouth is a medium. This microphone is a medium. So I think for us, it's always been about creativity. It's always been about, you know, if something doesn't work out, you know, then I got to find a way to make it work. You know, and the way to do that is to be creative.
What about outside of Seattle? Do you guys like how someone might look at up and coming artists and follow them and then like, oh shit, that guy was here one day and now he's performing wherever.
Right.
Do you guys look at that for like clothing brands? Like, do you follow like the beginnings of clothing brands?
I mean, you know,
grow? Or?
I think so. I mean, I've read the Hundreds book. You know, I read Shoe Dog, you know, by Phil Knight, who started Nike. You know, I read I like memoirs, you know, because it kind of shows stories and how they kind of came up.
Success leaves clues.
Right. And then, you know, I think Burner is a great example of what a brand could be, because he's not just clothes. He's not a clothing brand. He's a cannabis brand, bro. And he's a rapper, right? So you can see how he branched it out, and his brand is just bigger. It's cookies. It's the cookies brand, right? I mean, you know, and I mean, obviously successful artists, bro. Jay-Z really, you know, has really done it. You know, Nipsey Hussle was growing the brand, right? He had the marathon store, and then, you know, he was branching out to a lot of different business. Vector 90, you know, which was a project he was working on to it was kind of like a co-working space, right? So I look into things like that, and then I just really look about, I guess, really when I design and when I design the brand and the brand's direction, I also look, what would I want? You know what I'm saying? What I want, I mean, and what made me be here, right? So the reason why I'm designing, the reason why I took photography, the reason why I started doing all this is because in high school, there was a class that offered design and photography, you know, and I signed up and I applied for it, and then I got it, right? If I wouldn't had, and that was just a course that was offered on some random shit, you know? So if I wouldn't have applied to that, if that opportunity and resource wasn't there, I probably wouldn't have gone into photography and graphic design, right? But because I did that, now I was able to, I'm here, low-key, you know? And I think low-key, at least from a big spectrum, that's the vision with what I want to see with mediums. Obviously, clothing is our medium right now. But, you know, hopefully, as we grow the brand, is creating products and creating environments that we could do the same, right? Because that's kind of what...
that are conducive to creativity.
Right.
I just came up with that.
Yeah.
Hey. So what are you guys doing to stand out compared to these other up-and-coming brands? And let's start in Seattle, and then we can branch out outside of Seattle. But like here in Seattle, what are you guys doing to stand out?
Well, go ahead.
Well, I mean, definitely everything that we're doing online, you know, because online is not just Seattle. Online is everywhere. You feel me? So like we actually do a lot of stuff in Florida when it comes to online. New York, a lot of people buy our stuff on New York. So online is definitely, I feel like, number one, just because it's like so efficient. You know what I mean? You spend a couple dollars, you can reach out eyes in Florida in no time. As far as I feel like the artist aspect, definitely. I mean, I think it's about reaching pro level, people. I feel like how we grow attracts also a tribe. You feel me? And so organically, that's sort of starting to happen. It's like we're not really focusing on just highlighting Seattle artists, right, per se. It's happening because of how the brand is evolving. I have a feeling a year from now, 2 years from now, that same amount of like.
Is that the fastest way to gain new fans, though? So like collaborate with artists?
I mean,
I think collaborations in general, bro. Because it's network. You're building your network.
But like, would you grow the same amount of fans or like customers,
right,
if you had like a booth at a yoga retreat versus
a? Well, like I think so, bro. I mean, I think, like I said, it's just. I mean, well, that's what's cool about our brand too. It's mediums, right? So it's not just one genre. It can be, it's whatever creative expression, and I think it could be interconnected. But to kind of bring you back to that question, what are we doing to that are different than any clothing brands? I think because we had no example, because there's no clothing brands like that in Seattle. I mean, you have dope brands like ETC, right? ETC, I feel like, has led kind of like that streetwear culture, which I think is super dope. But really, I think, I don't see many doing events, and I think we're just being innovative and almost creating a lane, because we had to, right? Because we have no clothing, we have no storefront, so we had to go to events, right? We had, we started doing events because we had all this experience from all these other events, right? So I think, I think that's what we're doing a little bit differently. We're creating our events, we're creating the culture, we're kind of creating the community, and as long as we're doing that, I feel like, I think it allows us to stand out a little bit.
What about outside of Seattle? Like when I went to my tour in LA, I realized like a lot of these LA artists, even if they're not huge, they're making money full time, whether it's having their own like promotion companies or merch. So I think LA artists or just creatives in general know that doing events is important.
Right.
So maybe Seattle people don't really understand that yet. But
maybe
outside of Seattle, I think a lot of people understand that events is a great way to promote.
And I mean,
you're
looking at an artist, he goes on tour. You know what I'm saying? You go on tour and you go and you create your fans in other states. And that's, I think with our experience with traveling before, I think that's possible, because when we took our brand to LA, people loved it. You know what I'm saying? People resonated with it. And that, I guess that's what we're trying to do now. It's like, okay, well, now we've established a really solid footprint and almost like a blueprint for the way our business works, right? So it's like, okay, we have the merch and then we have events. Now we know that we have really great strengths in merchandise and we have really great strengths in events. So now the way that my brain works is like, okay, how do I blend both, right? And that's kind of what we're trying to do moving forward right now, I guess, with fall and winter. I'm working on a new line, right? But I'm going to blend in the fashion aspect of it with the event aspect of it, right? And then I'm trying to blend in both. So I'm trying to have a fashion show, and I'm trying to maybe have a fashion show where we could possibly take it on tour type thing, right? It's a performance space, right? And now I can maybe I can do a whole West Coast tour, right? And create this whole dope experience, and then, and then treat it almost as a tour, right? So that's one idea that I've been having. We also want to, I look at clothing brands, but then I also look at different type of businesses. And let's say events, right? I look at the High Times. What was successful about High Times, bro? Because that's culture, you feel me? And when I went to a High Times Canvas Cup, we sold a lot of product, So, I look at those type of businesses. We went to Agenda trade show, which is a fashion trade show, and I'm looking at, okay, what works? Why do clothing vendors go to Agenda? Why do clothing vendors go to Magic, right? And then the one I've been studying and really looking at is, Rolling Stone, Complexicon, which is a very culture-related event that also focuses on fashion. So now I'm trying to really focus on, and trying to see how do I blend in the event experience with the fashion experience with the knowledge experience, right? Because I feel like knowledge has always been a good aspect of it, learning the game and talking to people that know the game, right? Because I learned a lot when when someone's speaking of a topic that I'm interested in, right? So I guess that's kind of where my brain kind of goes, you know, and I try to study different businesses, you know, and then I'm like, okay, well, how can I blend all those businesses into one?
So why aren't you guys in stores yet in Seattle though? Like there's like one of my previous guests, B-Boy Fidget.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the most popular brand in the world, but he has a collaboration with Throwbacks Northwest. So like, I went the other day just to support his brand and bought a shirt there. You know, So there's other small hypebeast stores in Seattle. I don't know if Bait's considered small, but you know, because there's some outside of Seattle for sure. But like I think there's probably been like collaborations with Bait, Throwbacks Northwest. There's a couple other ones like.
So we are in stores actually.
Okay.
So we're at Throwbacks Northwest. We had the spring line out there for about 3 months.
Right.
So we're at Throwbacks Northwest. You know, we try to talk. This is also too, you know, I feel like we went to talk to all the storefronts, bro. And they loved our product. But I don't know, I feel like we didn't get much support, I guess. You know, even though we had the full resume, like I said, bro, we had the full resume. We had the full catalog, you know. I had my product, bro, and I can show it to you in a little bit.
Hell yeah.
You know, and we went and talked to them, and they were impressed with the product. They were impressed with what we're doing, but I feel like we weren't Nike, right? So for that's just what they were reciprocating to us, right? It's like, oh, well, your brand is not that big. Oh, you're local. Oh, you know, someone referred us to Throwbacks Northwest. We went to talk to Rio from Throwbacks, and he loved our product. He loved the vibe. You know, he also knew people that we knew, you know, and with Rio, it was very organic, you know, so we were blessed to have him put us on the store. And they did, you know, I think the clothes did pretty well at his store. We collaborated with him to do a pop-up, right, to kind of introduce the concept of like, hey, you know, our clothes are on Rio. I went and we did a little commercial.
Yeah.
We're in a few storefronts from other homies. We're in a storefront in Portland.
Hey, that's dope.
Yeah, they're in the mall, and then we're in a storefront up in Utah, and then a homeboy in Tacoma, the locals, they just opened up a store. He's opened up a store where he's featuring local brands, and he reached out to us actually, I believe, and then you know he took interest. So I think what we've been doing is just building that credibility behind the brand, right? Making it an official brand because that's what stores want to see, right?
How weird would it be to like just go to like different thrift stores and just put some? Because I actually go to sometimes when I go to thrift stores, there's like sometimes there'll be like racks of like one brand. Yeah, and it's like a brand I've never heard of. Do people do that to ever like promote their
maybe, bro. I like how your mind works. You're very market driven, by the way. That would be a crazy experiment.
Yeah,
but I felt like there's also this like you gotta also have a lot of focus about where you want to go and how you want to present yourself as a brand, you know. And so a lot of ideas that I've had along the same line of those have actually been just put down just because they just don't resonate with kind of like the focus of where we're trying to go, you know. And so just to add a little bit to what Roger was saying with retailing, a lot of these brands were also just looking to make a buck out of us, you know, not brands but stores, you know. They were.
So do you have to negotiate probably when you go to a store?
Do.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
do.
There's a whole concept behind buying. There's a, you know, the buying like business, the B2B on merchandise. It's also it's something that we also had a while to learn. You know, we went to Agenda, we went to Magic, and we talked to a lot of wholesale buyers, you know, that were like Nordstrom buyers and just buyers from all over the world. And you know, it's something that we didn't know. You know, when I sell my product, you know, well, it's like there's a wholesale price, right? There's a retail price, there's a wholesale price, there's a manufacturing price. And really, you know, when it comes to talking to stores, then you got to negotiate, you know, a wholesale price. And then when you're small, you know, I'd say we're still relatively small, right? Then sometimes stores, and let's say if it's Bait, right, or let's say if it's like a more established store, they'll try to negotiate, maybe have them get a higher percentage, right? Maybe instead of a 50-50 split is, you know, a 70-30, you know, 80-20, right? So I feel like the pricing also, it's a learning curve. You also got, you know, it's something that low-key we're still learning because we haven't really, our emphasis hasn't really been on, I guess we've been very focused on the events, you know, for this past year. We focused very strongly online and getting our online marketing on point last year for 2020 because of COVID. And we haven't really, we know the game because we've studied it, right? Because we went to trade shows, because we went to talk to all the stores out here. When we went to Likelihood, we went to Bait, we went to Urbanity up in Bellevue. We went to even all the small stores. And the one that fucked with us was Rio. Out of all those 10, 15 stores that we went to talk to, Rio fucked with us, and then Standard Goods bought some of our stuff back in the day a couple of years ago. So he was carrying our hoodies. He's a store in Capitol Hill, and he carried our hoodies for a couple months. So that was dope.
It's a lot of work, man.
But I guess, our emphasis, I felt discouraged a little bit, because it was just like, yo, like, check out my product, bro. And they didn't really, they just kind of rubbed us off. So I guess for me and my brother, I'm like, okay, well, if that doesn't work, well, then let's focus. For me, it's always been like, okay, bro, we need to sell our clothes, because we gotta pay the bills at the end of the month, right? Because running a brand and running a business maintains, there's expenses to be able to do.
There's cash flow.
There's we have to create a cash flow, right?
Wait, so Cesar, what do you guys do right now to make the majority of your money?
Well, we sell clothes.
Yeah, we're full time.
How long has that been?
What, since the brand established?
Been that you've been able to make money just solely off making clothes?
Well, I've been making the jump back and forth for 3 years now, just because it wasn't really necessary for me to go full time 3 years ago. You know what I mean? But now with like everything that's going on, it's been a good, I want to say solid 1 year.
Yeah,
a solid year since I've been full time.
Like, do you think you saw more growth during the pandemic?
Oh, absolutely.
We did.
Absolutely. It just went whoosh.
Well, because we focused our time full time.
That's what it was, man.
Right? Because we were doing it part time. I was working. I was working at a bank, and I was doing it part time. He was working full time at a body shop. So we were doing the brand half part time, really.
That's not touching people's bodies, by the way.
I think it's a massage parlor.
Oh, you said auto. Okay.
I said auto.
Okay, well, thanks for this class.
A body shop. Wait, where can I find this body shop?
That's funny, bro.
But there was definitely growth, man. Just focusing full time.
And even then, bro, we still don't fully pay ourselves like that. All the money has been going back to the business. I sustain my living, through side hustles, bro. Sometimes I've been doing photography on the side. Sometimes I've been doing graphic on the side. Sometimes sometimes he buys a car and he fixes it up and then he resells it. So we're low key, bro. The brand has been growing a lot since last year, and we've been, been producing sustainable, not income, but revenue. But as we grow, our expenses also grow, and we've low key been deciding it's just like, let's throw it all back to the company. We haven't paid ourselves like that yet. Sometimes we take a bonus here and there, some of the expenses, gas, the light bill, this and that. Sometimes we put it on the business to write, as write-offs. But we're still not like, we're still hustling, bro. It's still, I'm still figuring out, bro, like, okay, we got to make sure we got, all my expenses are covered from both from the business end and then both from the personal side, right? So, hopefully, and that's why, maybe that also allows us to be more hungry, because we're still not, bro, we're not cheesing off this, you know what I'm saying? We're still small, bro. We've created a good platform and a good infrastructure. I'm like, okay, bro, like, now we've created consistent revenue. Now, how can I drop my expenses? And now, how can I start being profitable almost, right? So I can start paying myself, and with Fremont Fridays and just what we've been doing, we've also, we've allowed to, it's like, okay, bro, let's start investing in the community as well, right? So when we feature an artist, make sure we try to compensate them, right? And sometimes if we can't compensate them monetarily, sometimes it's like, bro, like, here, bro, take a hoodie, bro, you know what I'm saying? Take a hat, like, let me, but like I said, till this day, we're still hustling to be able to really live off it, right. But we've made this conscious decision of like, hey, bro, like, and because also we've done it good enough that we're like, okay, bro, we can see the amount of success that we can really have with this, and if we take it to the next level, right?
So Cesar, what are your guys' goals for the next? Like I said, I do 2-year goals. So what are your guys' next 2-year goals?
I like that. I actually do a little less.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just personal, but. As far as, I like to go by year, and then now I like to go by quarter. Just because mentally for me, I can't hold space for, there's so much uncertainty, right? Like, we had no idea COVID was going to happen. and then we got hit by COVID, and then big part of our revenue just went out the window.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so since then, and just in general, man, I feel like that's always been me. I like to just chunk it to small. So you know, Roger talked a little bit about it earlier, but for the next quarter, you know, we definitely got new product coming, which, by the way, actually, I forget, hold on, let me bring this out.
Ooh.
Because I feel like...
Oh, yeah, let us show you the product, bro.
There we go.
Yeah, so you can actually see what...
On the NAST
I'm going to do I'm going to do the straps first.
Sure.
Yeah,
that's
okay,
fine,
let's do the straps first. All right, this is... Nobody's seen this besides me and him, by the way, so here you go.
So this is the straps that we're developing for a new bag, right? So it's gonna be kind of like you know, the back strap right here.
Hell yeah.
It's full. It's a nylon strap, really high quality, right?
There you go.
So this is really, we're gonna use this material for the new line. We're gonna use it for you know, the shoulder strap bag. We're gonna try to sew them. We're gonna sew them into the hoodies, incorporate in some hoodies.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna make keychains out of it. We can really make a lot of, you know, belts and whatnot. So, but this is really mainly for the bags. So, this is kind of what's coming. This is the samples that we got. It's kind of, you know,
dope.
So you
product.
You can kind of see.
Yeah,
and
to
then
answer your question, product is our goal coming up on the fourth quarter. Check this out. Well, this is
our quilted hoodie. A lot of people have seen this one, but we dropped this one 2019.
Oh shit!
I believe. You know, and this took us like a whole hour of development of finding fabrics, you know, finding manufacturers that were able to kind of be able to kind of
like the stripe down the back.
Right.
like that.
So
that's dope.
Here, just check it out.
Oh, I see what you mean. Touching is important. Oh, and you got a little Mediums Collective patch.
Right. The pockets have a little satin inside as well, so it's got like a nice little feel.
I know that hoodie is like a little mystery box.
Right.
It will take you on a path.
So,
that's dope.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, that's awesome, guys. Oh.
You maybe put it over there.
So you guys mostly so far, you got the straps, you got shirts, sweatshirts, hats. Do you guys do any like joggers or pants or socks?
We did some joggers. We did the fleece joggers last year. So we had the, you know, he's wearing them right now.
Should I stand up and model?
Oh, let me see.
Hold on, I gotta take these off.
He's about to.
You see what I'm saying? Well, you probably can't hear me, so right.
Yeah. So it's got the deep pockets too. So I designed
Come
it
more
in
to
a
the
way.
right a little bit.
Yep.
Ooh.
You feel me?
Full embroidery. We designed it with the deep pockets, so you know, because I always be losing my shit.
Yeah, I feel that.
You know, a little embroidery detail. So yeah, man, we did joggers. We did the you know, we did the shorts, and then for fall, hopefully, we're trying to do a full tracksuit. Right?
Oh shit.
So the full tracksuit should be coming. We're trying to do a jacket, so we're working on a puff jacket, possibly.
Oh.
You know, all of this is very, you know, because we manufactured, as you can tell, like there's a lot of detail on the design, right? And I'd be adding crazy features like on you know, like I designed the shorts with the deep pockets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then like the hoodie had a little pocket right here for, you know, your little stash. You know, but the Hemfest hat, you know, I designed it with the zipper pocket right here, right?
That's dope.
So sometimes I be getting too crazy with my designs. That
it's expensive.
That
Man.
we have
Your
to,
ideas
that we
are
have to,
expensive, bro.
That we have to manufacture, you know, a lot of product to be able to make it worth it. So this is what I mean by, you know, everything goes back to the business, bro. You know, because it's like instead of just dropping like a T-shirt with like, you know, I can design a graphic, right? And this is kind of more like your classic, right? But you know, fashion to me is my medium, so I like to design, you know, with the fabrics, with the textiles, with the materials, right? With different styles, the fits. You know, we're trying to get better at the fit. So I'm trying to get, you know, sometimes I you know, I grab the sweatpants, I tear them apart, make sure they fit right. So I really try to, you know, like I said, fashion is my medium, you know. So yeah, man, sometimes we begin too crazy with it.
Cesar, what's your medium?
I actually been not asked that question myself. What is my medium? I want to say The hair. No, I'm just kidding.
The hair, bro.
No, I actually, you know what? I have to do a little journaling and soul searching. I actually haven't. I don't think about that a lot. You know, I'm very like go with the flow type. You know, and sort of just finding my way like that. I mean, I used to be very like I need to know exactly who I am, what I'm doing, and you know what I'm about. Where now it's just like I'm just kind of like discovering. I was like, oh, you know, pairing up with my brother. You know, it was just like, so he just came up to me with the idea and was like, all right, whatever. I wasn't into business or anything, you know, I just kind of went with it. And 5 years later, dude, it was the best decision I made in my life. So that's kind of how I take it. So yeah, so that's kind of a tap out for your question. I don't know exactly
what are your hobbies then? Like, what do you enjoy doing?
Well, so I like walking a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, I like walking a lot. I like watching movies.
Oh, what are your favorite movies?
So I like the 90s movies, you know, like so the Good Will Hunting. There was a Vanilla Sky. It's actually one of my...
I just saw that again recently.
Dude, Vanilla Sky is one of my favorite movies ever of all time. New ones, I mean, I guess I like all the Jurassic Park series, you know, all of them. I've never watched Star Wars, so let's not even take it there.
Leave out it.
I'm sorry. I know I get that a lot. But yeah, I also like I like looking good too, you know, so I guess you can say definitely fashion.
This man,
if I had to put an answer to that.
At Scarlet Park's event last week,
man,
this man was in a full suit.
Did you see him, bro?
Did you like that?
That was dope.
It was cool, wasn't it? It was a little scary.
Man, he's got that Rico Suave look, bro.
I was like, am I going to be the only one wearing a suit? They said dress to impress.
Hey, see, that's the thing. If you're gonna be in fashion, you gotta stand out. You know?
Facts, bro. Facts. So see, sometimes you be looking more fashionable than I do.
Oh man,
I'm just more classic wear. You know, just the hoodie, pants, bro. I let the work sometimes do the talking.
There you go. I think I just found the answer. Clothes are my medium.
Yeah,
yeah, clothes are my medium.
Are you guys end up buying like new clothes or thrift shopping, or like when you guys are going out for like a shopping day? Where do you usually go?
Yeah, Throwbacks Northwest, bro. Throwbacks Northwest. I've been getting a lot of I like the sportswear look. I like the 90s jackets look. Thrifting to me, I wasn't really into thrifting, and then really just being closer with Rio and seeing what he's doing, bro. He's just really teaching us a lot about the thrifting culture. I'm like, damn, that's that we had a
dude, I got this hat from a thrift shop.
That's what I'm saying, bro. You know, you be getting really good finds, bro. I got like a Mariners jersey that was like a 90s jersey that was super fresh, bro.
Yeah.
And then for me, that's why I make my clothes, bro.
I was gonna say there's this really cool online shop called mediumscollective.com. No, but if you think about it, actually, that's my whole closet. It's literally my clothes.
Yeah.
You feel me? The whole thing about, I feel like doing this too is like, you got to embody what you're doing too. You know what I'm saying? You can't it doesn't feel genuine when you're not really embodying what you're about. You know what I'm saying? And so, I wear a lot of mediums. A lot of the times, you know what I'm saying, I can't rock a same hoodie for, all the time. So I like to shop here and there when I do a lot of events too with my wife. Yeah. So we go out.
Oh, you have a wife? I didn't know that.
Yeah. I'm happily married. It's been 5 years.
Oh, do you have any kids?
I don't have kids. I do have a 4-pound Chihuahua named Milo.
Oh God, I have 2 Chihuahuas too. I hate Chihuahuas.
Everybody knows.
Hold
Milo.
on a second. Talk about this. You hate Chihuahuas, but you have 2 Chihuahuas.
Yeah, Chihuahuas are the worst dogs on earth. I'd rather have cats than Chihuahuas.
You know, I heard a funny fact. Somebody just randomly said that Chihuahuas were the closest dogs to like wolves. I haven't Googled it. I haven't researched it. Huh. Maybe it's because Milo, he's a good guy. Don't get me wrong. Milo's a good. He actually got a nickname over at Fremont Friday. He's called Killer.
Well, you brought your dog. You brought your dog.
Oh, dude, yeah, everybody knows Milo.
He was a Fremont Friday mascot.
I would show you a photo. I'll send you a photo afterwards. He's adorable. He's a good guy.
Do you want to hear a dark Chihuahua fact?
Okay.
Chihuahuas actually are known to bite off their owner's like fatty part of their eyelids when they're sleeping.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Has Milo ever done that?
No, but actually he
gets feisty.
He gets feisty, and you know what I like about him? He's very like, he knows who he is type shit, you know? Like he like stands up for himself. So he loves me, right? And I tease and I play with him, but like just the other day, I was fucking around with him, just kind of teasing him, and he stood up to me and he was like, nah, like stop. And he actually like he didn't bite me like to make me bleed, but he like, you know, was like, yo, knock it off, dude. So yeah, he's a feisty one. I hope he doesn't ever do that to me.
Yeah, I hope so too. Well, guys, what is some advice you each have for up and coming artists, creators, influencers? Start with Roger.
Just put in the work, bro. Really put in the work. You know what I'm saying? Find innovative ways to get out there. You know, there's a lot of people that will tell you no, bro, but I'd say just keep going. You feel me? As long as your heart's in the right place, and if you want to be 100% committed, and if you want to make it into a career, just go at it, bro. Just go at it, and obviously try to find a way to make it sustainable as a business as well. You know, because I think unfortunately we live in a capitalistic world, you know, and we need, you know, you need money to be able to fund things and to be able to grow. So, you know, money's not the end goal, but it is that mechanism that allows you to really, you know, really take something more seriously.
It's the keys. Money is the keys.
You know, so you know, I'd say just focus, grow, man, and focus on the art form, bro. Perfect your product, and then after that, you know, it almost becomes a muscle memory. So
I love that.
And what's the easiest way to reach you?
Mediumscollective.com, you know, at Mediums Collective, man. So, you know, we manage the Mediums page. I have a personal Instagram at Roger Maldonado 11. I don't really be using it as much, you know, and that's just more, I guess, personal life. But you know, Mediums Collective is really, you know, the way to reach me and us.
There we go. And Cesar, what's some advice you have?
Well, so I want to reframe that question, and I would want to reframe it in the following: if you could have a message on a billboard that 7 billion people could see, what would it say? And I think it would be pay attention to your feelings. You know, I feel like we live in a place where a lot of people are penalized for that, especially males, you know, nowadays. And believe it or not, man, when you actually start paying attention to your body, there's a lot of information in your body, from how you feel, your state of mind. And just, I mean, and this is from practice, right? From the past 5 years of me paying attention to my body, to my feelings, to all that. I mean, the growth is just, it's like I know so much about myself, you know, I know what I can do, I know what I cannot. And that removes a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fear from not wanting to do something. So I feel like if people want to do that, the world would actually be a kinder place, to be honest.
So how are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling very good. Very good.
There we go.
Yeah.
Dope.
This is the NAST podcast with
Roger at Mediums Collective. What's up?
Big C's, what's up?
And we did it.